we've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3, listen.
Let's begin with a little bit of a cop-out on my part. I couldn't just pick one guy from the Clear Fork offense because of how many total yards they had. 8 total touchdowns, 2 for the Colts. We were talking about them just a few minutes ago, all the different weapons. This is probably the best offensive team that we have here in this area just because you never know where it's going to come from. You really don't.
The matchups that they have, they're so tough to match up against. And when you have so much a variety of talent, it's just very hard to stop them from scoring points. And you know, the schedule that they play makes it difficult. They may have playing teams like Mansfield Senior and even some of the OCC teams had a better chance of matching up with them talent for talent. But right now, the Clear Fork Colts, and they are rolling, and they have a lot of weapons, like Kurt was saying earlier.
Yeah, they have been rolling. And speaking of which, this dude, Trevon Raymore, last night for the Truckers, you see those Asterixis there, Asterixis, if I could say it right, a couple of program records, and not against just any team. In a big-time rivalry game against Sandusky, this kid ran absolutely berserk. 40 carries. Every single week, it seems like he gets stronger as the game goes on. Almost 400 yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground. Like, my brain's having trouble processing, Kurt. Crazy.
And a game like that, there's no shortage of athletes on the field, and he's a guy who certainly stood out. I saw him a few weeks ago, and he's a load, and what I like about him is he's a big, strong guy, but he runs like a little scat-back guy, and he is the total package, that's for sure.
Broke the Truckers' single game record for rushing and then tied their touchdown record. Jeb Grover, another difference maker, also setting some records, 350 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns, and oh, by the way, named Homecoming King last night. You want to talk about winning? This kid right here, number 44, he does it all, passing Mason Galco to become the program's career rushing leader. 5,330 yards is what he has during his 4-year career. Special.
I just love to see the teams now, high school teams, going back to power running, power backs, big kids being actual running backs that can run. And you know, in this day and age of spreading the football out, throwing it all over the field, you know, Grover has really shown that being a power back is where it's at.
He talked about being a state high jump champion. Uriah Schwemley, a complete game changer for them. He didn't play for a week, and Shelby just got their butts spanked a couple of weeks ago. Now with number 3 on the field, this is the dimension that he can bring. He can outrun guys. He can break tackles. He can shake dudes in the open field. He's just unbelievable. 4 catches, 3 of them for tutties.
That's video game numbers, right? I mean, have 181 yards on 4 catches. I'm no mathematician, but that's a pretty big yards per catch average. And you know, he has a little bit. I remember watching Carter Brooks last year and making plays down the field like this, and this is another guy just like that, just explosive.
And oh, by the way, 13 tackles to lead the team on the night. The Lexington offense, I did not think that we could say this during the season after I saw them during the first couple of weeks. Now they have everything going. Even last week against Mansfield Senior in the win, they only threw it 3 times. They just kept handing it off to Cade Stover and Caden Berry, which they did a lot this week, but also 240 passing yards from Jacob Depperschmidt, and then they're rushing 370 yards again. They got the total engine rolling this week.
Well, I think Depperschmidt is really figuring it out, and the coaching staff is figuring out. You know, we talked about earlier about sometimes you got to shrink what you do and get better at what you're good at. And I think Lexington is really doing that now. Their passing game seems to be simple, but very effective. They're using a lot of big plays. And at the end of the day, giving it to this guy is always going to be a good thing.
Cade Stover is just absolutely unbelievable as of late. The speed that he's been displaying, I think he is faster this year. I think that you notice it out on the field as a senior. Cade Stover, he's a grown man out there playing amongst boys. And that's why Lexington, a big reason why they got the win in the student section, had a trillion reasons to go crazy last night during homecoming. And then Mansfield Senior, the run game, our final award this week, 60 total carries, 294 yards, 3 touchdowns. What I like about it the most is that 3 guys got it done. Kurt, you were on the sideline with me. I mean, you got to give the big guys up front a lot of the credit, and then the guys behind them. It was a great display.
Yeah, in my 20 years of covering Mansfield Senior football, this is the most big, strong, and athletic offensive lineman that they've ever had. I mean, they got 5 guys, and then they probably got 5 guys who can come in and replace those 5 guys if they needed to. In my experience, it's a lot more important who's plowing the road for you than who's carrying the ball, and those guys up front are doing a heck of a job.
Fun to watch, Effie, when they got this thing going with these three backs behind these big bodies.
Well, this is who they are. And earlier in the year, I think this is who they were. When they brought in Cam Todd, people may have thought, well, now we're a passing team. But no, this is who they are. They are two tight end, ground and pound, and 300 yards rushing. That's who they are. And now they've got a quality quarterback that can mix in a really solid passing game. That's why I think they're going to be dangerous down the stretch. But this offense really looks good right now.
And that's why they're Friday Night Phenoms this week, brought to you by MWD Logistics. So obviously some really impressive performances this week.